Welcome to the Witcher Lorecast, the show that explores the vast lore behind the Witcher games, show, and books. Witchers, welcome back to the Witcher Lorecast. This is your host, Tom, or Robots, and I'm here with my good buddy Toasty on an early episode. We're starting about 30 minutes early today because we can do what we want, right, Toasty?
Yeah.
This is our show. We're going to do it our way. And today we're going to do it early. So I don't know that makes a difference to our listeners who download the episodes because it'll still come out at the regular time.
Probably not. I don't think it does.
No, but chat showed up early. We got a bunch of friends in chat. Hi, chat. Welcome, everybody. Sure. All right. So it is Monday night at 8:30 instead of 9 Eastern. And if you want to join us on future episodes, come to the Robots Radio channels on Twitch and YouTube and Facebook. Just pick one and come join us. But Toasty, it looks like we teased it last week. It looks like we're doing another Bestiary episode. These are always fun. We're talking monsters again. What are we talking about?
We're talking about Amphisbaenas because we said we would.
Amphisbaena.
We talked about them so much last week. I was like, man, we can't just not explain them, you know?
It sounds like a disease. It still sounds like something that like you go on a trip somewhere that is like foreign, far away place where you aren't immune to the viruses or something, to the bacteria. And then you come home and you go to the doctor and you're like, Doc, I don't feel so good. And they're like, well, you got a case of Amphisbaena. And you're like, son of a, how did I get that?
I guess it would be a Greek disease probably then.
Yeah. Don't vacation in Greece. Because
you'll get the Amphisbaena.
You get the Amphisbaena. So, okay.
It's not good. It sucks.
Yeah, it does suck. So wait, that's really the topic for the show?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I got some information right here.
All right. Let's do it.
All right. So yeah, because there's just a plethora of information here. We got the Amphisbaena in The Witcher is a giant water snakes with a head at each end.
Yeah, that's what I said last time.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
And the actual mythology of it.
All right, so that's all the Witcher stuff. That's it.
Yep.
That's it. That's all of it. Yep. Okay. Mm-hmm. And all right. So welcome to the second half of the show, everybody.
Other than it being mentioned a couple times, that's pretty much it.
All right. So now that we've completed the first half of the show, this is the second half of the show where we go into the actual mythology from Greece.
From Greece, yes. So it's a mythological ant-eating serpent. So
it's an anteater?
It's interesting. And it had a head at each end. So like the same as like the Witcher one. And according to which the Amphisbaena was spawned from the blood that dripped from the Gorgon Medusa's head as Perseus flew over the Libyan desert with her head in his hand.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yeah, that's what this is. Okay. Yeah, that's familiar.
After which Cato's army then encountered it along with other serpents on the march. Amphisbaena fed on the corpses left behind. It's
hungry. I mean, when you have two heads, you're going to be twice as hungry.
Yep, that's how it works.
Two mouths. You got to take turns. One mouth is like, stop eating so much. I want to taste it too. Wait, so that's it. That's the end of the show. We're done.
Yep. That's it. Oh, I do pose the question of which unfortunate end of the snake is the one that like has to poop?
Do you think it poops out of a mouth? Is that what you're suggesting here?
Possibly.
There's not like a middle point somewhere with like a little hole,
maybe
little anus.
But like, I don't know. This is so weird. Or does it have two
little anuses?
Because it would have to if it. I don't know, does it have two sets of like digestive systems?
That's weird.
And like,
I don't know. I don't think we have an example of anything like this in the real world, unless it was like some sort of like mutation. In that case, usually the digestive tracts combine at some point.
Yeah, well, I know there's like weird, like the most examples of two-headed mutations are like they're in like the same, like right. Where the
their necks break like off a certain spot. Yeah.
Yeah. This one is like they're opposite. On each end of the snake.
Right. It's like cat dog.
Like,
Right.
It would be really weird.
Yeah. Cat dog, basically.
Yeah, but that's it, Tom. That's the end of the show.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I guess this is the shortest episode we've ever done.
I know. What do we do? Like 5 minutes? Probably, yeah.
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 Do you think maybe we should do more?
Do you think we should?
I mean, we could just make crap up.
Yeah, but like, I don't want to get yelled at. You know, we get the wrong information on something, you know? It'd be pretty unfortunate.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we should just sit here in silence and let people listen awkwardly to us just go, yeah. Right.
No, but on to the actual topic of the show. We're talking about Kikimoras tonight.
What?
Because we actually said that we would do that last week. But I thought maybe just, let's get the Amphis Beta in there. It's like very little information needed. So
yeah, well, that's as much as we've got for the Amphis Beta, which still sounds like a disease to me. Yeah. All right, so Kikimoras. This is fun. I have a feeling there's more information about this than there are Amphis Betas.
There definitely is.
Okay. Well,
let's so much more information.
Let's go. We're going.
All right. Well, I'm starting off with another snippet of The Last Wish. He didn't react to the muffled cry of the woman selling vegetables who was staring at the bony taloned paw sticking out beneath the horse blanket, bobbing up and down in time with the donkey's trot. Caldemain shifted from foot to foot, looking at the spidery shape with its dry black skin, that glassy eye with its vertical pupil, the needle-like fangs in the bloody jaws.
This is great because this is like something that you see a lot of in the Witcher games and even on the TV show is the carcass of the thing that was killed or the head of the thing that was killed dangling from poor old Roach.
And this is a donkey. He didn't even have Roach with him on this one. Just a random donkey
poor
having
donkey.
To carry around a Kikimora.
Yeah.
It's quite unfortunate. So, the Kikimora or Kikimora, depending on how you want to say it, is an insectoid monster species that lives underground as well as in swamps.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is the first monster we see in the TV series. Right?
Yes, and I reckon it's similar. I would probably, just out of lack of something else to fit it into, like a box to fit it into, I would say it's insectoid. It's kind of like a big spidery thing, but it's also like disturbingly like humanish with its face and whatnot. And so I don't know. Like, I kind of hope we just don't see another one in the show.
Did it freak you out a little bit?
It was weird.
A little
like
disturbing.
Whenever you have like a big old monster, but then you put like a human face on it. And like make it like expressive. It's just like really disturbing.
Or like that weird creature in the second season that comes out of the portal and kills the Leshy, and then hunts them down. The centipede looking thing. Yeah, like it has like human arms as part of those.
Well, like it's made of like hands and things. Yeah, it was like really freaky. That was yeah.
That's pretty messed up.
I was more disturbed by the Kikimora than I was that thing.
Okay. All right.
Just because it was a face. It was just a weird, disturbing face.
Yeah. So we have some references from the games about Kikimora.
Yes. So they were in Witcher 1 and 3. So in Witcher 1, we had 3 varieties of Kikimora. We had the workers, part of the insectoid variety of monster. They were immune to the blinding and bleeding effects, and were susceptible. That's a hard word to say sometimes. Susceptible to silver and insectoid oil, as one would imagine, as well as knockdown attempts. Though they are blind, they can sense through smell and vibrations, and they were able to spit acid, as well as communicate with the rest of their colony, hive, whatever you would prefer, by like smell. So very interesting.
Kind of like ants leaving a trail for other ants to follow.
Pheromone kind of thing going on. Right. And when harvested, they would yield the Kikimora trachea, is that claws and toxin, and could be found in the temple quarter at night in chapter 3, in the trade quarter at night, and in the swamp.
So fairly common in The Witcher 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that all of that is very much more insect-like. There isn't anything very mammalian about that. Yeah,
they're bugs. They got like carapaces and whatnot.
And you can't blind them because they're already blind. So it's not gonna do anything.
Yeah, couldn't do it. They did not. They perceive through vibrations and smell, as opposed to it was like tremor sense kind of thing. The warriors, who were similar to the workers, except they were resistant to knockdown as opposed to susceptible to it, and were immune to most effects.
So like a hardier version of the worker.
Oh, yeah. Their acid could blind as well. So they had more potent acid, and same yields you would get off of them, except you would get venom glands rather than claws. And then they could be found in the swamp in chapter 3 and the Vizima sewers during the Gold Rush quest. So not quite as common. And part of what I got out of The Witcher 3, because I didn't explain it as much, like the dynamic of them, but essentially they're like a colony of ants, where the workers go out, they kind of gather the things they need, and they were the more prevalent variety. Like, I guess drones, I think, for ants are the more the ones that go out and do all the stuff. And then there was the warriors where there was a lower population, and normally they would go out like one warrior would accompany a group of like 5 or 6 workers as like protection, or they would guard the queen or the rest of the colony where the main branch of it was.
Right. So they're like defense for the other parts of the colony, and especially the queen. So they have a queen kind of like a group of ants.
Mm-hmm. So the queen, it was an example of one queen in The Witcher 1, which was resistant to all effects and took hardly any damage when attacked.
Ooh, so this is like the Aliens queen or something. This is like
pretty, yeah. They were able to knock down and kill a man in a single blow, but luckily were quite slow and therefore easy to flee. She could be found in the Salamandra base, and there's a little bit of an explanation here on how to deal with it. It says the queen cannot be fought properly, as it will inevitably kill Geralt in a single hit, since the player is meant to escape. This was the plan.
This is like a gameplay mechanic. Yeah,
you were supposed to run away. The player must have said run away from the queen and use the Ard sign to first collapse the passage to slow down the queen, and then use it to destroy the supports of the Salamandra cave, which will bring down the section on top of the Kikimora queen and cause its death. However, experienced witchers would fight the Kikimora queen using the brown oil, Quinn, and Ard signs. Bombs like Devil's Puffball and Dragon's Dream were also effective. Arguably, the most easy method is by using Yedin with the crippling sign unlock. And if you killed it, you would be able to later find the remains of the professor and acquire the Kikimora Queen's nerve that could be used to make the Kikimora's ire potion.
So the game was designed so that you didn't fight it directly. You collapsed the cave on top of it, which crushed it to death.
Yes.
Which seems like a smarter way to handle a giant bug monster.
But then it would lock the location, and that was the part that was unfortunate.
So they designed a way, even though they made this thing like super, super terrible to have to fight, they still designed rewards if you were able to do so by using all of these other, potions and bombs and all of these other methods.
The key was to get through the fight without being hit. Like if you got hit, you died. Like it was one hit,
like a Dark Souls boss or something.
Yeah. But if you were good enough to like not get hit and you had like the proper materials to make it a bit easier, then you could do it. But still, an incredibly difficult fight.
That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. There's always been kind of an element to the Witcher games of coming across. We've talked about this before. Monsters that you either aren't supposed to be able to fight yet, or are going to be good. Like they're going to give you a run for the money. Like you got to know what you're doing, even on like a normal difficulty. Like the higher difficulties are a lot harder, but even on normal difficulty, there's definitely monsters that you come across and you're like, am I supposed to be able to beat this? Like this thing's really tough.
I always viewed the Witcher 3 as kind of a exponential like leveling curve, as opposed to linear, because it's like, you're like way weaker than that level 30 thing when you're like level 10. But then once you're level 30, it's like generally an easy fight, and everything that's less than you just getting like one shot most of the time.
Right.
So,
right. Yeah. But I've always appreciated that though, because even when things were really hard, and again, we talked about this before, if you stuck it out long enough and were smart with how you did it, you could still beat it. It just was really hard. Which makes you kind of feel like a Witcher, because it's so much of the time, even if you're Geralt with like heightened senses and abilities and potions and bombs and whatever else he has on him, some of these monsters would just trounce you. Like you would not survive a single hit, regardless of what you've got going on, which is kind of cool to be able to be like, well, I took that thing out and it was hard, but I did it.
Yeah. Yeah, and to think, Witchers can take hits easier like than regular people. So if they can kill a Witcher in one hit, well, there's really no chance for anyone.
Yeah.
So
at some point you're just outsized by a thing. Like a solid hit will gash you open and you bleed to death. It doesn't matter how resilient you are. You're still made out of flesh and bone. Or like enough weight will crush you and your bones break, like even if you're more resilient than a regular person, at some point you're still just, a mammal. Like there are parts of you that are just kind of squishy. So yeah. All right. Well, that's cool. We've got more about the Kikimora from The Witcher 3 coming up after the break, but we need to go welcome a new patron. So let's go do that.
Very well. Let us get this over with. Something has infested my vineyard.
Mm-hmm. Great. Let me go prepare my something oil then.
All right. While Geralt prepares his something oil, we have to say a big thank you to, this is one account. It's two people on one account, Cody and Carly S, for signing up on our Patreon as a new tier 5 higher vampire, which means that they get a call out every week. And I could just use the Discord name, Vida Bjornen. Cody and Carly S, Vida Bjornen. Thank you so much for your support. And then also Ben of Temeria and Bane, the hospital guy. Thank you so much. Oh, there you are in chat. Thank you so much for the support. We really appreciate it. And all 16 of you, we're up to 16 patrons. Thank you for helping us out and supporting the show. Toasty and I very much appreciate this. And that means that, well, the three of you and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Leshens, all of you are able to join us next week for our patron chat. So we need to be throwing out some ideas. So if you have any ideas of things you want to discuss, 1 week from today, it is the 23rd right now, which means the 30th. It's a holiday, but I hope you guys can join us. That night we'll be discussing things with our patrons, and I look forward to it. It's always one of the most fun things to do every month. So we look forward to joining with you guys. Thank you everybody for supporting the show. If we're helping you get through your workday, your work week, your workout, then go to patreon.com/WitcherLorecast and check out all the different tiers. You can get ad-free episodes. You can join us on future episodes. You get t-shirts if you sign up as a tier 4 or higher, or stickers for tier 3. Lots of cool stuff. So thanks to everybody for that support. Also, we have a new review. This one comes from New Zealand, which is the opposite side of the world from me and Toasty, which is awesome. I'd love to go visit New Zealand. Wouldn't that be awesome to go see? I haven't been to Australia or New Zealand.
Yeah, but like you live in the Australia/New Zealand of the US.
Yeah, so. But there's lots of different like climate zones all in those, like those are large places. Like, yes, but
also I would like to go to New Zealand.
But also
because
and the people seem so cool. Yeah, Hobbit stuff. The New Zealanders seem like such cool people.
A lot of the fantasy places are just filmed in New Zealand, so
I know,
it's
right?
like might as well.
Yeah. So anyway, so this is from Garrett4681 in New Zealand, who writes, very interesting insights into the lore. Just started with episode 1 and I really like it. Really enjoy having all this info so conveniently located, broken down and shared in one place. I can see the passion for the content. Thanks, guys. Well, thanks for taking the time to leave us a review. That's awesome. If you would like to leave some words or a rating on Apple Podcasts, we'll read it out if you leave the words. And if you leave a 5-star rating on Spotify, then we will also be grateful for that. And if you don't listen on those devices and just want to help us out because you have those devices, you can just look the show up and leave a review. That would be awesome. So that's what we got for the middle of the show, guys. Thank you for all of the support. We really appreciate it. All right, let's move on with the rest of the episode.
You smell of death and destiny, heroics and heartbreak.
It's onion.
Right, yeah.
All right, so Witcher 3 still has Kikimoras in it, and they're fairly similar, right? But slightly different?
Yeah, this is just because
different game.
Like most of them, yeah, different game, more kind of fleshed out with like mechanics and whatnot. This is specifically the Kikimora can be found in the Blood and Wine expansion. And we see only examples of the worker and the warrior. So there's no queen, at least none that we see anyways. And they gave the Kikimoras a rather potent ability that interacted with Witchers specifically interesting. So their kind of acid spit, poison spit, whatever you would like to call it, actually had the effect of increasing Geralt's toxicity level.
Oh, right. Because that was one of the mechanics in the game. You take potions, your toxicity level increases so that you only take so many potions. But once you go past a certain point, it's no good. You can't
take potions anymore, and like you start taking damage because your toxicity is too high. So it caused a really unique mechanic to where you couldn't take as many potions, and it would start to like affect you negatively as far as like you taking damage from your toxicity. So it was always helpful to have a white honey on hand when you were fighting Kikimoras, just so that you could lower your toxicity.
That's what I do when my toxicity is too high. I drink some white honey. I don't even know what that is. Does it come from like, instead of yellow bees, like white bees?
Oh man, what is?
Oh no, we're gonna look this up. We don't have to look it up right now.
I didn't think I was gonna have to look up the white honey formula.
White
but you're
honey,
making me.
Witcher. Let's find out. White honey. Witcher Wiki.
We got vitriol, rebus, and aether.
I still don't have any idea what that is. White honey. White honey strongly stimulates the production of purifying enzymes in Witcher's mutated bodies. Thus, it frees their bodies of the effect of toxicity, though it simultaneously nullifies the beneficial effects of any potions. Oh, so it like clears your system completely.
Yeah. So it was, but like it got rid of potions effects, which you don't want that sometimes. You're fighting like monsters. You want your boosts. In The Witcher 3. Because I was looking at The Witcher 1 thing, actually. I was wrong. The Witcher 3, you just made it with a dwarven spirit and honeysuckle.
That sounds delicious. Like a honeysuckle flavored, like, I don't know.
Alcohol?
Mead or beer or something?
Well, I mean, them dwarves.
Or it's a spirit.
So maybe strong alcohol.
Yeah, it's probably more like
careful.
It's probably more like a vodka or something. It still tastes, I bet that tastes great. Well, there you go.
Maybe just one honeysuckle, though? I don't know.
Well, if it's like a small, like, you know, like you make like a mixed drink, you just put like a little bit of a seasoning in there.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
You don't need a lot.
That's what Geralt was really doing.
Yeah, he's concocting
Witcher potions
mixed drinks.
Potions. They're just mixed drinks.
He's got like the martini glass with like the garnish on the side, little umbrella. And he's
that's
like,
that's why he's meditating to refill his potions. He has to make all these mixed drinks. Then
hold on, I gotta prepare for the battle. He's like making a cocktail, sipping it.
Is that why whenever you drink regular alcohol, it wasn't as potent? Because in the Witcher universe, mixed drinks are the more potent.
Yeah.
Effects.
Yeah. Oh, Rob in chat says it makes you poop real bad too. Is that, does it?
Imagine.
I don't. All right.
Like what? I don't know if that's legitimate. I don't think it would have too much of an effect unless alcohol just makes you poop. I don't know. I don't drink.
Or honeysuckle. Does honeysuckle have like?
I don't think so. I mean, I've tried
properties?
honeysuckle before.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Don't remember a correlation to pooping, but whatever.
Whatever. After every big battle, Geralt's like, hold on a second, I really gotta take a big dump.
Oh dear. So we have the workers and the warriors again. The workers were nimble and quick opponents. They attacked in swarms and would burrow under a target for a surprise ambush attack, like a swarming surprise ambush. So take too much of that, and it would be quite unfortunate. A swarm of workers would usually be protected by a warrior, and dispatching the warrior would cause the workers to scatter. Because of their hive-like nature, they show complete immunity to the Axis sign, so they can't be like manipulated.
Because they've got like a hive mind, which means that you can't just affect one of their minds.
Yeah, because all of them are there, and they're all. Yeah. We know how hive mind works. It means everyone else is yelling at you all at one time, right?
Right. Yeah, like the Borg.
That's how hive minds work.
This is now a Star Trek podcast.
I gotta go. I don't know enough about Star Trek.
I haven't kept up. It's been years.
I've never seen it. So it is best prepared by coating your blade in insectoid oil and to make use of the white honey potion and the Igni sign. They don't like fire. And bombs that were designed to harm insectoids were also useful. Harvesting them yields Kikimora discharge, monster carapace, monster heart, and monster pincer.
That's a thing that we don't talk about enough. Speaking of defecating, is that when things die, they often just release their bowels. Like a battlefield full of dead people, before it smells like, bodies decaying, would just smell like a bunch of poop.
Yeah.
Or dead animals. And Vita in chat says large amounts of honeysuckle will cause vomiting and diarrhea. So this might be accurate. If that's true,
that's fair.
Whew. All right. Who knew?
It probably takes a lot of honeysuckle to clear out all that toxicity too. So
probably.
Except he somehow manages to get it all out of just one honeysuckle.
Yeah. One's enough. Maybe his Witcher senses make the effects of certain things more potent on him also.
Oh dear. It's like, imagine being resistant to like regular alcohol, but honeysuckle just completely messes you up.
I'll be right back, guys. Yeah. Okay. So we've got warriors also.
Yes. So warriors are pretty similar. They were slower attackers, but they were larger, and they were able to spit caustic venom as well as make leaping attacks. And this, like we said before, this venom increased your toxicity. So, then you would start having problems if you took too many of those. Their tough armor was able to deflect some blows. They share the same resistances and weaknesses as the workers. Harvesting them yields Kikimora discharge, monster heart, and chitinous shell.
Nice. All right. So, like always, we've got some real world mythology connections as well.
Yes. So this gets interesting because I could not find a similarity between the Kikimora mythology and The Witcher.
It's like they just used the name because the name was like a monster kind of creepy thing. And then they just reinvented it for The Witcher.
Yeah. So in Slavic / Russian mythology, the Kikimora is a female demon said to be born from spirits of unbaptized infant girls or the offspring of a fiery serpent.
So we've talked about this before. In a lot of these old myths, there's always this element of like religious, like early Christianity, religious, like, I don't know, folklore stuff going on. So there's like a message here, like, make sure you baptize your kids or Kikimora.
You're gonna get a Kikimora in your house.
That's what you get.
Yeah. She is a humanoid figure inhabiting homes built on top of burial grounds or sent by an evil witch or sorcerer looking to cause chaos. Kikimora can also be summoned by a disgruntled contractor.
Wait, what?
We're getting there. More about the name. The one thing I did want to point out is that, and we kind of got a little bit of this in the Nightmare of the Wolf, is that Mora usually meant like spirit or like bad dream, like nightmare. And so we saw that monster in the Nightmare of the Wolf, the Mora, that was like some thing that like crawled inside people and made them have nightmares.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the same idea that they were some sort of like nightmare spirit. So they came in a couple forms. So the household spirits, which could be considered good or evil, they lived behind the stove in the kitchen, in the basement, or the fireplace, and make noises similar to a mouse to attract food.
Huh.
When the Kikimora inhabits a house, she breaks dishes, whistles, and makes noises at night while spinning thread.
Like, wait, like Rumpelstiltskin? Like, okay.
Yeah. She's attracted to dysfunctional, unhappy, or abusive families, or can be planted there by nefarious home builders looking to beset the new homeowners with bad luck.
So wait. So like, all right, guys, we're almost done with the construction of the new house, but these new homeowners, the people who paid for the house, sure are sons of bitches. Bring in the Kikimora. We're putting it behind the stove.
Exactly.
Really?
Which is like, yeah.
Boss, you sure you want to do the Kikimora on this one? Yeah, I don't care. They didn't pay for it, but we're just going to give it to them for free. They deserve it.
Yeah. So the thing that actually like the most closely sounds like this to me from The Witcher 3 is actually like the Godlings. The little Sarah, I believe, is her name, the one that lives in the house.
Yeah.
And she's like haunting it, but she's not actually. She's just playing pranks.
Right. She's like a little kid. She's like doing like little kid stuff.
Yeah. So stuff's ridiculous. These old myths. Otherwise, when infiltrating a house of her own accord, she enters the home through the keyhole and is very difficult to remove. She sleeps in the dark crevices of the home and only comes out to attend to her needlework or cause a disturbance.
So like in the middle of the night, you go to sleep and then you're like, I got to get up and pee. Wait, what are you doing in the middle of my living room spinning needles, like spinning threads?
Yeah, and that was the bad version of it. The good spirit version, or also called a Demovoy, I believe, would search for families that were happy, like a happy home, joyous family, and would become attached and act as their guardian and protector. She helps with the housework and is particularly fond of taking care of the chickens.
Sweet.
Yeah. She is very protective of hardworking women and matriarchs who keep on top of their traditional wifely duties in a cheerful home.
Oh man, that doesn't sound like the patriarchy wrote that, does it?
Yeah, it seems like some men came up with these kinds of stories.
Right.
Basically, if you want the good spirit to go to your house, the wife really needs to be a good, submissive, traditional housewife that does all the chores. And
Honey,
if you don't do that, then you were going to get a Kikimora that would come and harass your house and make noises at night.
Honey, you better keep up with the chores or we're never going to get that good spirit that's going to come help you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Interesting concept, right?
Oh, God. There's no hope for humanity. We're like, people still do this kind of crap where they make stuff up in order to manipulate other people who are just gullible enough to believe them. It just like, this is super obvious because it's old and outdated with our culture, right? But like, we still fall for the stupidest crap. Like, anyway, go on.
Then there was the other version, the woodland spirit. The Kikimori, that's the plural of Kikimora, living in forests tend to be attracted to swamps and bogs. So a little bit more similarities coming up here. Mm-hmm. The wet footprints identify them, which they leave behind when coming and going from the water. Kikimori of the forest are ugly, disheveled, and bony, small dwarf-like creatures. Traditionally, they are not large spider-like monsters with humanoid faces, like the one we saw in episode 1.
Yeah, right.
The depiction of Kikimora is drawn from the Slavic legends solely for entertainment purposes. Forest Kikimora are like to lure unwitting travelers off-road and drown them. So kind of like drowners. Sometimes kidnap children who have gone astray. And what happens to the children after she takes them is up for debate. Basically, they don't want to specify.
Probably terrible. Probably come up with something terrible. That's probably one of the things that could happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably not great. And describes some physical characteristics. Some Kikimora are usually human or dwarf size and are almost always a ragged older woman adorned with dead leaves and moss. Household Kikimora are much smaller, dark, shadowy figures with a beak for a nose because of her love of chickens.
Oh, right.
Long nails, claw-like hands, and feet. For the most part, depictions of Kikimora tend to be unpleasant, ghoul-like figure that is the stuff of nightmares.
It sounds like either a witch or a weird, like, beaked clawed creature. But the beaked clawed one is actually the good one.
Yeah, well, sometimes. Some of them are, some of them are not. And yes, so the creation of the Kikimora is either death from a stillborn baby or an unbaptized child. She can also be born of the body of a mother who has died during childbirth and will resemble the dead woman upon her creation. So Striga-like.
Mm-hmm. There's a section here that's also very succubus-like. So the potentially they take on the form of beautiful women rather than spindly old ladies or creatures, and they're said to haunt men's dreams and torture them with their innermost desires, attempting to break down the relationships with real life women. She would enter women's dreams too and appear as a young woman. She would stir up images that would incite jealousy and suspicion towards their partners. So kind of succubus-like, but different.
Yeah. Or like a siren-ish kind of thing. That I skipped over that, and I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting.
Probably more, if I had to guess, this is probably more like men making up stuff. Like,
right.
Basically, like, oh, you're not being a good enough wife for this thing, So the spirit's going to come in and make me want to be with her instead of you, because
it's not my fault. It's not my fault. The Kikimora got in my dreams and made me do it. Yeah,
but it does fit in the dreams aspect of where the root of the word mora comes from, of nightmare.
Yeah.
So, and yes, like I said, with the other possible creation is home building, as a way to annoy your neighbors. Basically, you create a Kikimora, invite them into their home. So don't be a bad neighbor. This seems to be the general idea there, which is like, this is okay. I like this. I like this message of be nice to your neighbors and your contractors, because they don't deserve to be. They don't deserve you being a jerk to them.
Right. Yeah. Pay them well. Be nice, respectful, and maybe they won't put a Kikimora behind your stove.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's actually, I don't know. Might be able to pull this up. There's actually a picture on this other site.
Yeah,
the house version,
beaked bird looking one.
Beaked bird looking one.
Let me see if I can save the image real quick and pull it up. But yeah, this is interesting. There's definitely a few variations on this, but you're right. They don't seem very similar. There we go. That's the beaked bird looking Kikimora on the screen right now.
Freaky looking. It's got some chicken feet, which obviously for me, that immediately goes to like some Baba Yaga kind of stuff too.
Yeah, very devilish. I mean, it looks like it even has horns and what seem to be like ears on top of its head, kind of like a wolf. And
it's definitely got like furred arms and claws.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of these things have very demonic qualities. They share with each other. So that's what we got. I think that's it for the lore section. Anything else you want to mention before we wrap this up?
I mean, I think that's about it. If we're doing are you talking like the end of the show stuff?
Well, just anything otherwise worth noting about Kikimoras. But then, if not, then what else you got going on?
I don't think there's anything else of huge note there. That one, I do think is very interesting, like how much like they diverged from the lore, because that's like a generally like Slavic mythology one too, which they usually keep rather close to like the mythology on those.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess it would have been a little, I don't think so. I think it'd be rather easy to like implement that into like a quest somewhere of like
they had similar monsters
in the household, like
mm-hmm.
like you just like go in, or you have to like break into a house at night or something, and you just hear like a mouse behind the stove, and you're like, whatever. But then you do your Witcher senses, and it's like, that's not a mouse.
yeah, that's something else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they could have worked this in, but I feel like Andrei Sokovsky, I don't know how to pronounce his name correctly, wrote him into the stories as something that was slightly different, that just used the word Kikimora mostly from the lore, but didn't really draw connections in order to create a monster that he wanted to be in his world and just needed a name for. That's kind of the sense I get. But you could, if something like this were to show up in a future Witcher game, I mean, you could have a monster that does all of these things and just give it a slightly different name or a variation on the name or on the word. But yeah, totally. I mean, this would create a really creepy side quest somewhere for sure. So you got anything else you want to share before we head out?
Follow us as usual at the Witcher Lorecast. Let me see. I had a more concrete date. I'm trying to remember what the concrete date was for the thing.
For the
Cyberpunks, when they're dropping season 2, I believe that I think it's the 19th, maybe. I can't remember.
June 19th?
So difficult.
So
somewhere around there.
So about a month away. A little less than a month away. Yeah.
It's been very interesting doing that. We've recorded 3 episodes. And they have been something else. This is definitely where we're going in an interesting direction compared to season 1. Let's just say that.
Okay. All right.
And it's only 3 episodes in.
All right. Well, that's how role-playing games go. You don't always know exactly where things are going to go until you play through the sessions. So
yeah, but it's fun, of course. I'm enjoying it so far. I recently, I think their episode just dropped today for the 2 Girls, 1 Ship podcast, their episode on Judy that I
from Cyberpunk 2077.
Yes,
in case anybody doesn't know. Yeah.
Yes, that dropped today, I believe. I was on there. I guessed it, and just gushed about Judy the entire time. It was great.
Yeah, she's like your Kikimora for your relationship with your real wife. The one that Judy, she shows up in your dreams. Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. Also, that actually just reminded me of something, as the fact that I was never able to, like, I was wondering what kind of weird, this is obviously a weird promotion that they did, but Old Spice, when they did the Witcher scents for season 2, one of them was called Kikimora Corpse. Wow. And I don't think they sold them for real, but I think they did them for like promotional things. And I just remember seeing someone sampling the smells of all of them, and they said that the Kikimora Corpse one was not delightful in any way at all.
That's super weird then. Like, why would you want to smell that? I mean, people use Axe body spray
too. It was like so weird. Like,
but
oh god, has an earthy discharge. Oh dear, not the discharge.
All right.
Yeah, and then for other things, I guess I'm joining Ben on Friday for their first patron chat
for the Holocron Histories.
For Holocron Histories,
the Star Wars podcast on the Rocket Club. Yeah,
you can only refer to me as Darth Toasty over there, though, or else I will not respond to you. So yeah, just letting you know,
Darth Toasty. So get ready for that.
I don't even know what we're talking about. I don't even know what we're doing.
Well, you guys will figure it out, I'm sure. It'll be fun. So yeah, go check out that show as well, Holocron Histories, if you want to catch up on all the differences between the old lore and the new lore for Star Wars.
And the lore that they're taking from the old lore and adding to the new lore.
Yeah.
It seems like they're going that direction.
Yeah, it looks like they're pulling some of that stuff in with like Admiral Thrawn and some of the other stuff. Yeah, interesting. But yeah, go check that out. I've got all my shows. So all the different Lorecasts, Fallout, Elder Scrolls, this one, Mass Effect, Lord of the Rings, all those shows available. So if you're looking for more shows similar to this one, where I explain the lore, or me and a co-host explain the lore of these other universes, then go check that stuff out. You can find all of the shows on the Robots Radio Network at robotsradio.net. So that's all the shows, all the Rocket Club shows, lots of content out there. So if you're looking for more stuff, go check that stuff out. And that's what we got. We don't have a Mass Effect Lorecast after this episode today. Normally we would kind of roll into it in a little while, but turns out my co-host Sam, N7 Legend, and his girlfriend came down with some COVID, so they're not feeling too hot. But warm thoughts to them. Hope they're taking care of themselves, and we'll feel better soon. But we might just not end up with a Mass Effect Lorecast episode this week. So hopefully they're doing okay. But we should be back with that next week, and we'll be back with this show next week with our patrons. So stay tuned for that, because that's going to be super fun. We're looking forward to it. And if you want to join us, you still have time. So by the time you're listening to this, if you're listening to this before the 30th or even on the 30th, and you want to sign up and join us, then 9 p.m. Eastern on Monday night on the 30th is when we do the recording, and we'd love to have you join us. That's what we got going on, everybody. Thanks for being here. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you next time. Oh, and Toasty, thanks for tuning into the Witcher Lorecast. We'd love to hear about your experiences with the games and the books and the TV series and all your thoughts on everything. Please check out the Robots Radio Discord and follow us on Twitter at Witcher Lorecast.
You've been listening to a Robots Radio podcast. Smart shows for interesting people. Check out all the shows at robotsradio.net.